Okay, so you can hear my voice. Let's see, it's not letting me type into chat, um, at least on this browser. Let me try switching to a different browser. Okay, let's see. Can I see? Okay, good. So I'm hearing that the game is now sort of audible. So, and people are in the chat, so I'm going to begin very, very soon. And again, I'm sorry for the confusion. We're basically a tiny mom and pop organization, and so we have to figure out how to do every single thing every time we try to do it. I'm not an experienced streamer, but I think I have everything going, so we are good to go. Yeah, there's about 80 people in chat, so I think I will begin. Just let me go into the streaming software and hit record. Okay, so hello. So my name is Jeff Vogel, and I am the founder and president of Spiderweb Software. We are a tiny indie game company. We have been making fantasy role-playing games for Windows and Macintosh and iPad and Android and even Linux for about 30 years. This has been our living for 30 years. So I believe I've been writing video games, indie games continuously longer than any person alive. And, we write very low budget indie retro story heavy text based turn based combat role playing games. That's the specific sort of thing we do. And we just today we released our new game Geneforge 2 Infestation, which is a remaster of Geneforge 2 which came out in 2003. So this is a new version that runs. And because, the old version was 20 years old and it didn't really work very well. And so I'm going to spend the next 2 hours playing a bit of this game. I'm going to be continuing the game that I started in during Steam Next Fest about a month ago, which means I have to figure out what the heck I'm doing because I can't really remember. And so that's pretty much it. And I got the text area open. If you have any questions about indie games, about the games business, about this game in particular, please go ahead. It came out this morning. It's selling pretty well. People are pretty happy with it. This is a game. This is sort of a cult classic game series that has had followers going back decades. So I'm leaving a dungeon right now and entering a town. So, what is the story of Geneforge? Because it is a very unusual and unique setting for computer fantasy role playing games. It's different. It's in an alien world. There's no elves or dwarves. It's really got its own thing going on. And I'll just say very quickly while I just sort of putter around town and see what everything looks like, what's going on. So this is the world of the Shapers. Shapers are wizards, but they have the ability to create life to serve them. Their tools are living things. Their servants are living things. If we go in here, oh no, that's a shop. If you go in here, this is where a bunch of serviles live. Serviles are the like this is a servile. These are the Shapers' sort of servant race that do their farming and mining and work for them. They can make tool. Let me see. I'll bring up my inventory. They make. This is a living tool. It's an organism that's used as a lockpick and a mechanism device. This is a healing pod. It contains organic goo that heals you. My weapon is a baton which shoots out thorns. Everything is bred, and most importantly, Shapers can make their own servants, their own warriors to serve them. And you see, in this game, I'm a low level character and I already have two different creations that have been made and customized to serve me. This is a Thawd, which is a bipedal melee creation. You can see that there's a bunch of ways I can upgrade it. There's active and passive abilities I can give it. Let me check my character. I can't remember what level. I had a little trouble getting up and running in this. Let's see, I got up to level 3, getting up and running in this game, so I didn't actually have time to figure out what was going on. Anyway, you're the Shapers. The Shapers rule the world with their power of life creation. The Shapers guard their powers very, very closely. It is the Shapers rule the world, and anyone who tries to steal or use their powers is executed. But in this game, in Geneforge 2, you have gone up to investigate these mountains you haven't heard before, and you find that your creations have developed independence and are starting to work on a rebellion. And it is your job to decide what to do about this. These games are hugely open-ended. There's many different factions. There's many different paths you can take through the game. You can go through combat. You can make a big group. You can go solo. There's even a pacifist option. You can achieve any ending in this game without ever attacking a foe. So I'm bringing up my quests to figure out what's going on. Mine rescue. Oh, okay. So I had just finished mine rescue. Someone comments that you can move around the camera with the. I'm right now moving around the camera with the WASD keys, which is a long overdue thing. Since we've been writing these games for 30 years, the there's been a lot of changes in what people expect from interfaces and how interfaces work. And we've always tried to keep up with that. We tend to keep up with that slower than we should, but we've always done our best to keep up with it. So I believe lately. So, for example, when we started making games, WASD to move the monitor around was not at all a standard thing, and it took us a few games to catch up with that. Someone asked, "How does the pacifist option work?" Never tried that in a game like this. So usually it's a trickier option. Usually this game has a lot of replayability, and most people do it in their second playthrough. But how does pacifism work? Well, you can see for the character skills, there's a lot of different builds. There's 3 different character classes, which affect what skills are easier for you to train. Base skills, there's combat, there's magic, and shaping, which is how good the creation you make to serve you are. And finally, there's leadership, which helps you convince things, be able to do things, mechanics, which helps you with traps, and stealth, which helps you sneak around. If you're playing pacifist, means you never attack a foe, but you might use your diplomacy to convince other people to fight each other for you. So leadership would help with that. Mechanics helps you sneak around, and so does stealth. And you can use mechanics to, say, sabotage machinery to blow up and destroy your foes. There's a lot of different routes, and there's about 90 zones in this game, but some of them are combat only, and some of them are pacifist only. So you can get any major location and get to any ending without ever attacking a foe, but it may require a bit more patience and care. The combat route tends to be a little easier, but a lot of people really enjoy the fun of going pacifist. And right now, this is more of a pacifist dungeon. This is more of a trickery dungeon. So I'm going to start here with a mission. This is a mine, and the workers in your mines were serviles, and the servile keeper, a woman hired by the Shapers to look after their serviles, said that rogues, monsters, have invaded the mines, and she needs you to rescue 3 of her serviles. So I'm going to start out by doing that mission. And I'm going to be exploring this mines because this colony you're searching was originally a mining colony. So entering the mines, I find something. When you recognize the glowing crystal pillar ahead, you freeze. It is one of the more cunning and dangerous Shaper inventions, a defense pylon. It's a gooey, fragile, magically charged creation protected by a thick shell of pure crystal. They're used to defend areas of great importance from intruders. Luckily, this pylon decides not to incinerate you. It has been deactivated. Some pylons only act if a nearby control device permits it. So I'm still in the demo, so this is still very much tutorial territory. So you're learning about now some of the systems in this game. And right now this pylon is this is a defense pylon to kill enemies, but right now it's off. You can also see the little power conduits next to it are off. So what I'm going to look for is a way to turn it on. Because I will tell you now, as a player, just as the guy who wrote the game, there's lots of monsters wandering around in here. Right now we have it's early enough in the game that we have a combat-heavy party that can kill the monsters. But first, I'm going to see if we can turn on the pylons to get some help. And when we started out, we were in this room, so you can see this little odd, pudgy little fellow here. This is called a servant mind. This is it's a living computer and control panel of sorts, but you can talk to it. And the servant minds are these sad little fellows, are one of the creations of the Shaper that's used to administer Shaper stuff when the Shapers aren't around. Okay, someone asks, besides the engine graphics, how much of the remake is different, such as the text story? Did you rewrite much? That's a great question. So one thing I've always said about Spiderweb, we've been doing this 30 years. We've written 18 all new games, which is for an indie game developer, especially when it's one guy doing most of it, a very prolific career. But because some of the games came out 20, 30 years ago, we have to remaster them. When we remaster our games, we don't half-ass it. We remaster everything. I have gone through every location, every line of dialogue, every quest, every magic item, everything in this game over the last year and a half to polish it, to improve it, to fix things, to rebalance it, to make it a game that's up to modern standards. In addition to that, I've added an enormous amount of new material. Because when this came out in 2003, a lot of it was a little bare bones. It was good for the time, but people expect a lot more dialogue and development and lore now. So I've added a ton of new zones, a ton of new quests. I've basically went through any area that seemed a little empty and added a whole new quest line there. So the whole world should feel a lot more fleshed out and a lot more alive. I just have to say I'm really proud of this Rayman Master. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Okay, so I've talking to the servant mind in its tray. As you approach, the servant mind's big moist eyes roll up to look at you. It shakes itself in a jiggly motion, kicking off a bunch of dust and cobwebs. Nobody has visited it in a while. Ah, Shaper. Good Shaper. Thanks, Shaper. Shaper comes to lonely Prip. I am Prip. Minds are dangerous. Shaper must be careful. Servant minds are made with huge ranges of intelligence. This is not one of the brighter ones. So this is a very text-heavy game, by the way. This is like old-school Fallout, Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment style gaming, where most of my storytelling is done by writing. So a lot of whether you like this game or not is going to depend on how much you enjoy reading and how much of you think I'm a good writer or not. I'm not going to be doing a huge amount of reading during this stream. Our games don't stream terribly well because, again, it's a lot of reading. But for the dialogue, especially ones I like this one, I'll go along with it. Why are you still alive, Prip? The rogues, they fear me, and they know I am not tasty, so they do not bother me. And when they do, I hurt them. They leave. Servant minds are often made with the ability to shock or otherwise harm attackers because of situations exactly like this one. Are your defenses still active? Prip raises its stubby little arms and closes its eyes. Its hands begin to glow. Sparks fly out. Then Prip opens its eyes and the glow fades. Enough for pests, yes. Let's see, what is happening in the mines? Since, again, I'm here to find some lost serviles. I not know. I stay here in my tray, lonely. I run mine when have serviles and no monsters. With monsters and no serviles, I sit in sadness. Can you come with me to investigate? Prip raises its tiny, useless arms and legs so you can see them. Then he makes a wobbly, shrugging motion. I believe this bit of dialogue is new to this game because I really enjoy writing the servant mines, and so I added a bunch of dialogues. Do the mines have any defenses? So let's get to the core of the thing. Yes, Shaper. Good defense. Pylons. Not active, but ready. Tell me how to turn on the defenses. I am sorry, Shaper. Orders is for defenses to be off. Orders come from Shapers. Normally, any servant mind will do what any Shaper says. However, it can be complicated when two Shapers give contradictory instructions. I command you. Tell me how to turn on the defenses. Prip looks very distressed. I get commands from different Shapers. They are different. Sadness, difficulty. I will obey first order. Yes, I will not say. Prip closes its eyes and thinks, confused. It stops hearing what you are saying. So I'm going to exit the dialogue and I'm going to check my leadership. My leadership's only one. I think it has to be up to 2 to get this guy to help me. So I may not be able to do it in this playthrough. Let me try threatening it, though, see if that helps. Tell me how to turn on the fences. Tell me how to turn on the fences or I will destroy you. Oh, sadness. Other Shaper tells me what to do with much clarity. You feel a painful shock. It runs from your feet to your head and back down. You are not damaged, but it does stun you for a minute. You stumble back. Okay, well, if I'd spent one more skill point on dialogue, I would have been able to convince me to help, so it looks like I'm going to have to hack my way through this mess to find the serviles. Fortunately, again, so there's a cloak over here. I just want to see. I think I already have a cloak. Oh, God, I have so much stuff I could turn back in to get experience. I have a mission to get iron bars from the tutorial. So I'm going to save the games. I save my games all the time because anyone who's ever watched me stream knows I am absolutely terrible at my own games. I get myself killed all the time. So I'm going to need to save. So let's see. Someone has Geneforge 1 and Geneforge 2 greatly benefit from remaster. But others like Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5 still hold up relatively well. Is remastering the full series in the plans? Absolutely. So Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5 are much bigger and more fleshed out than Geneforge 1 and 2, but they still could greatly benefit from a new interface and completely redone graphics and also new material. Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5 are much loved games and they're really good, but again, there's still a bunch of flaws there. There's still a bunch of things that I can improve. And if nothing else, I want to make them be consistent in appearance and interface to this game. So this is a really big world. You can see there's a huge black space up here. If you somehow got through this mysterious tunnel, you might find that all of this becomes visible. Right now, I'm going to go back to town, and I'm going to go to the blacksmith and turn in a bunch of iron bars. I think I was also going to train more before I tried to do that dungeon, but I may just turn in my equipment for a reward and then go just say heck with it and try to beat that dungeon, even though I won't be able to do the machinery. Let's see. I have some. So here's a trader. I want to trade to see what he's got. I only have 131 coins. Let me turn in the bars. Thank you, Shaper. This is iron today. It'll be blades tomorrow. So I just got a bunch of money and experience. No, I'm not going to sell anything. Okay, I'm going to sell all my junk. And let me shop again. Now I have a bunch more coins. Let me compare. I think I'm actually pretty well equipped. I think I already got everything there is to offer in this town. So I'm going to go back into the dungeon. Actually, let me check the alchemist. Maybe I'll get a pod or some spores. Would your products be used? I would like to see your wares. So instead of potions, there are pods and spores. Pods are like gourds of semi-living liquid that you can drink to get bonuses like healing or speed. And spores you throw or they're spores, but you throw them in the air and it helps everyone nearby. I'm going to get one pouch of healing spores just to be able to cure all of my creations if we get in a big fight. Oh, and I just got a level. I'm going to make another creation. I'm going to make another Thawed. So I'm going to select a Thawed. That's okay. And what do I want to give it? Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to make another Fiora. Because Fioras, I can give the Overload ability, which charges them up. They start taking tons of damage, but they do much more damage themselves. But I don't want to make suicide thoughts yet, so I'm just going to give it Cone of Fire, because that's super helpful. There. Now I have more creation. Let's see, another question. Can you explain how quest tracking works? Sure. Here's the quest log. And you see current quests, which are sort of divided into the sections for where you got them. And then when you go to the world map, which I'm about to go to, when you find the section where you do a quest, it will tell you that that's the quest you do there. Let's see, let me bring this up. So if I mouse over the mines, you can see that below Dry Peak Mines it says Mine Rescue. That means that this is where I do the mission to rescue the Serviles. Okay, so let me see. So I think both of my Shaper, both of my Fiora, I invested in Cone of Fire because area effects are going to be good here. So the way the way you pay for creations is essence. You can see my character has health, which is hit points. You die if you run out. Energy, which is used to fuel spells, and essence. Now, essence is Shaper goo. It's Shaper living material, and you use those to make creations. But it also fuels your most powerful spells. So you can spend essence to make a creation to serve you, but then that eats up your essence until the creation dies or you reabsorb it. Or you can spend essence to make the more powerful spells. And which you choose to do will depend on your character class, and it will depend on your personal strategy. Because again, this game has a lot of different paths. You can play through it solo. I'll show you. Bring up the skills again, so you can see. So over here, this is a weapon shaping tree. So these are abilities for if you want to play a melee and missile character. These are abilities that use your essence to fuel your attacks. Then there's the creation tab. These are all of the different sorts of creations you can make. And for each creation, most of the creations have two different varieties you can make. So for your Fioras, if this skill goes up high enough, you can also make Crioas, which is a better cold-based Fiora with a different set of different upgrade tree. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of spells. And so which you specialize on depends on your character class and your play style. Because, again, this game has a lot. Okay, so this room is mostly empty. I want to see if I can find the controls to try to turn on that pylon. Oh, so there was a little flicker of an error. That's because, hello. Okay, so here's a monster. I'm gonna take it out. So this is a fairly sturdy monster. This is probably a monster that's patrolling looking for enemies. So I want to kill it very quickly or it's going to call for help. So my thought is going to sneak up behind it and use stunning bash to try to take it out of action. So it's stunned, so it won't be able to attack for a bit. My shaper is going to just attack it with fire spells for now. Okay, and I killed it with a thorn, so now it's dead, and no more enemies are coming after me. Excuse me, I'm going to move the microphone very far from my mouth because I have to cough. Excuse me, I am not an experienced streamer. Okay, so I managed to kill that. And I want to get out of the way before anything else can jump me. Okay, I found here once again is another set of crystal power conduits. But there's a control panel next to it. Note how this thing sort of looks weird and organic. Again, Shaper controls are bred living things and not machinery. This is a piece of Shaper machinery. It looks recently made, although mold and fungus are already creeping onto it. A plaque on the side is legible. It says defense. On the side, you find some very simple controls. A lever and a control where a control crystal might be inserted. Let's see. I don't have the control key, and although you don't have the control key, you are skilled in mechanics. A little work with a bit of wire releases the lock. You pull the lever and hear a humming sound from within the device. Power begins to flow through the conduits on the floor. You will recall, however, that sometimes defensive pylons don't become active until a shaper approaches to activate them. These controls are on. Let's go back and take a look at that pylon. So note, these are glowing now, and you see the pylon is kind of sparkly. Oh, okay, so the mission came up, message came up very quick saying, a pylon detected me. This is now active. Now, if any enemies come near it, this pylon is going to incinerate them. So remember we were talking about getting through things with stealth and pacifism. By the way, there's a little crystal on the ground here. I should be grabbing these just to have money. Because it's a crystalline. So that is now active. So if I was playing the past, oh shoot, Fiora Hunter shouts an alarm. So I was gabbing, something saw me and I wasn't paying attention, and now it's running for help. And look, here's a whole bunch of monsters. So I could, if I was playing pacifist or careful or just wanted to feel awesome, I could run like heck back to here and let the pylon kill them. But this is still early in the game, and I happen to already know this mission is pretty doable just for a regular combat party. So I'm just gonna fight my way through for now. Let's see. What I'm gonna do is I seem to recall I was getting low on ammunition. I'm going to switch to javelins. Javelins are really strong at lower level. However, they fall off really fast unless you train in missile weapons, which I'm not going to do because I'm a shaper. I live and die by my creations, which are hopefully going to do this job for me. Okay, so nothing is visible right now. I'm going to leave combat. Okay, so I just saw, yep. So there's two creations over here, and there's probably going to be a nest next to them. Those are the ones that would have been activated by the patrol creation I killed earlier. I am going to leave them alone for now, because I'm here to rescue survivors. Okay, just found some money. There's a horn and some bones in this nest. Nothing really useful. I will grab these crystals, though. Let's keep looking around. Okay, so I think this is considered off. And I didn't get an activation message, so this is probably activated from somewhere else. Let's look around. Okay, so let's see. I should have done a better job. I will occasionally. So there was a dumb patrol that walked by. They didn't see me, and eventually I'm going to go west and kill them, even though it's going to stir up a whole hornet's nest. So these are off. Oh, this is on. You see, this is off. This is on. I should one of these days I should figure out how my games work. And again, anyone who's tuning in late, my name is Jeff Vogel. This is Spiderweb Software. We've been making games for 30 years. This is Geneforge 2 that just came out in the wee hours this morning. Is now available for sale at a very reasonable price. And I am playing through a mine looking to rescue some poor lost serviles. Our games are, retro, old school, low budget. This is a very small, this mom and pop organization. This is just basically me and my wife and a bunch of really skilled freelancers who help us out. But yeah, we've been just running our tiny little indie company for 30 years. I've been making indie games since before they were called indie games. When I started out, they were called shareware because you were legally allowed to share the demo. So I found a nice little workshop here, although, I should have made this be the nice stone wall to go in with the floor instead of having the cave wall. Maybe I'll make a note to fix that for the patch. Let me try this control. Okay, so once again, I've reactivated these controls and turned on this pylon, and I'm going to walk back to it. A defense pylon detects the proximity of Shaper. It becomes active and hunts for intruders. So now something is attacking me. I'm not seeing red dots. There we go. Okay, there that is. So now I'm going to back over here, and I'm going to wait for it to come to me. Okay, so this can't see. It's just going to walk out. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to let the pylon do the work for me. Oh, it ran away. Great, it ran away. Okay, I'm going to move out to here and see if I can hit it with a spell. No, I can hit it with the javelin. This is one of the... If I let's say if I press tab, I can see it's a Fiora Hunter, which is a tougher variant of Fiora. Someone asked, some people... Let's see, by the time Geneforge is remastered, could we get a combined world map? Okay, so so I showed the world map earlier, and the world map for Geneforge 2 is on just one map. But originally in the earlier games, the world map was split over several world maps, and you had to work from one to the other. So I'll tell you now, Geneforge 3, Geneforge 4, and Geneforge 5 will have a combined world map. Which will also be turned into nice desktop art. That whole split up world map thing that has been annoying people for 20 years will be gone. Speaking of Kickstarters, is Queen's Wish 3 next? That's a really good question. The answer is, and I haven't really talked about this because I've been concentrating on other things. We will be finishing the Queen's Wish 3 series, the Queen's Wish series for sure. I am not sure whether I'm going to write a whole new Queen's Wish game or go back and expand Queen's Wish 2 to finish the story. The Queen's Wish games, I'm really proud of them. I really like them. They didn't sell very well. So I'm not sure we can afford to write a whole new another Queen's Wish game, but we will definitely put some serious time into finishing the Queen's Wish series one way or another. The one thing we will be doing soon, I'm not sure how soon, is remastering Avernum 4, which is a very popular game from our past in our most popular game world that really, really seriously needs a serious remaster. Geneforge, Avernum 4 was a game that has a lot of really cool stuff in it, but it was also very flawed. Avernum 4 was very flawed, and Avernum 4 is going to get all kinds of rewriting to make it cool. Let's see. So, a whole bunch of monsters came from... Oh, it's a door. A whole bunch of monsters came from here. Open door. This door is locked. You don't have the key, and you don't have enough living tools to get open. You need 5. So it doesn't have a key. That means that somewhere there is a key to this door, but my mechanic skill isn't high enough to get it open without the door, without the key. There are some really important, really difficult doors that require a key, but doors that require keys, usually, if you're skilled enough and put enough resources into it, you get it open. It's another part of the whole open-ended thing we rely on. Okay. And thank you, by the way, there's a bunch of people in this chat, so thank you very much for showing up. It's really, really super stressful releasing a game. It's we've been my wife and I have been living a continuous heart attack for about 72 hours. So, but people have been really friendly and responsive to this game, and we've really hugely appreciated it. So thank you for showing up. So like a DLC for Queen's Wish 2 instead possible. Also, what I'll tell you though is that probably it won't be DLC. If I finish the game with Queen's Wish 2, there's a very good chance it'll just be a free update. Um, it feels weird having it be DLC. Plus, I would have to figure out how the same DLC system works. And between those two things, I may just give it to you. Because we released Queen's Wish 2 is more expensive than our other games. It's $25 instead of 20. And so I may just tell people that extra $5, that's the DLC price. Let's see someone else. Speaking of what you said about the Geneforge world, I really like the progression of the series in starting on the furthest peripheries and moving closer to the center with each game, which is correct. So this is the sequel to Geneforge 1 Mutagen, which is a remaster of Geneforge, which came out in 2001. And again, it's a five-part epic story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it tells the story of civil war, of a rebellion. So the Shapers rule the world, but there's only a tiny number of Shapers. Most of the humans in the world are called common humans, and the Shapers just tell them what to do. And the common humans and the creations unite to rebel against Shaper rule. And over the five stories, Geneforge 1 is about sort of the seeds of the rebellion on this remote island and the technology of a magical device called the Geneforge and how that was created and escapes out into the world. Geneforge 2 is about the rebellion starting to form and creating their weapons. In the next game, Geneforge 3, the rebellion will have fully broken out. And then in Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5, everything has gone nuts and it's just carnage and fire and things blowing up everywhere. Originally, it was going to be a six-part series. Decades ago, I had an idea for six parts, and while I was designing Geneforge 5, I was like, wait a second. One, I can finish this story in a satisfying way in this game, and two, oh my god, I don't think I have two more of these in me. So I stuck at five games, a decision which I have always been happy I stuck with. I think it works really well as a five-part story, not a trilogy. It's a pentology. What did someone tell me in chat the name for a five-part series? A trilogy is three parts. A quadrology is four parts. A pentology, something like that. Okay, so earlier one of those Hunter Fiora called for help, and now the ambush is coming from around the corner. Once again, if you're playing pacifist and are patient, you can set up an ambush by a pylon and just incinerate the heck out of these fellows, but I'm still strong enough, because it's still the early game, to take care of them. Later on, there are dungeons that if you don't have a lot of good tech skill, and if you try to go through them in the pure combat route, you will really get you will really get wiped. Oh look, it's a bunch of treasure. It's a whole bunch of gemstones, a curing pod, an upgrade shield. Yeah, that was a nice nest. What's this? Shackles and scales. Bunch of junk that these critters scavenged. Okay, let's hit it. Okay, that's right. I couldn't open that. I need to find a key. Well, maybe I'll go look for that key. Remember, I am still looking to rescue three people. So the continent on Geneforge, the known lands, are called Trestia. Not a particularly creative name, but I'm stuck with it. And as someone just said in chat, a pentology. That's a very fancy word. Um, and what was I going to say? The I have completely forgot what I was talking about. You're getting to experience a creator who has spent the last week getting completely fried. It's a lot of work releasing a game these days. There's always 87 things to do, and there's PR, and they're setting up stores, and they're sending out mass emails. Okay, a patrol just walked by me, and it went off this way. There's an inactive pylon here, but you can see a little just sort of visual clue. The empty crystal conduits are shooting this way, so that indicates where the controls are. Once again, this door is locked. I need to find a key. I'm going to see if I can find the key. Though this is a fairly successful iron mine, iron is not valuable enough to justify spending this much effort developing a colony. It takes something more, and you've found it. In the walls here you can see flecks of crystal. Crystals are very useful, in fact necessary to make magical items of all sort. They're prized by shapers and common magicians. So there are wizards, and you don't have to be a shaper to be a wizard, but creating life is reserved only for shapers. Because if you can create life and you misuse those talents and make and make mistakes, it can cause horrible disasters. As on the process of playing these games, you will encounter many of those horrible disasters. Most crystals can be sold to merchants. Fine crystals you find in this mine might be workable and valuable magic items. Of course, you would first need to find someone with the ability to craft them. There is a very... Oh, hello, more ambush. There is a very simple crafting system in this game, which is you find crafters and you give them raw materials and you can choose between different items. A lot of the most powerful items in the game are made with crafting. I don't like super complicated, finicky crafting systems, but it is fun to be able to find weird items to make stuff and to give alternate currencies. So now I'm going to unleash the cone effects that I invested in getting for my creations. Let me see if I can catch both of them. I can. So yeah, that's good progress on these guys. So I'm going to run him around here and I'm going to use the stun attack. And, oh, that's right. So I'm going to right-click on this creation, and you can see Thods, which are melee creations, are very stun-resistant. There are 3 branches of creation. There's fire shaping, battle shaping, and magic shaping. And then there's special, sneaky sorts of creations that tend to fall under different categories. So for some reason, I think I have debug keys activated on this because it's showing me some information I'm not supposed to be able to get yet. Either that or it's a bug, which is entirely possible. I'm sure I'll be patching this game soon. Anywho, I'm gonna try to, just for fun, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna daze these guys. So this guy is going to be inactive for a while. Dazing lasts until you hit it. And now that this guy can't act, this is more skill than I need to show because, again, I am in the early game, but I'm going to try to explore some more difficult areas in a little bit. After I've rescued the serviles, I'm going to leave the caves and explore the outdoors some. So I'm going to sneak up, and I'm going to lob. So this one is no longer dazed and can run for us, but it's melee, so while it approaches us, we get a free turn to whittle it away. Oh, I don't want him next to my delicate shaper. I'm going to throw fire at him to save my javelins. Critical hit. That's... Oh, don't hit me. Ha, now you're dead. And let's see what we can find over here. Stuff. Okay, another inactive pylon. Let's see. Are these... Okay, I can upgrade my shoes. I'm still early enough in the game that finding a pair of boots is interesting. And then there's just a bunch of goofy... incidental items. And I'm going to double back here because I still haven't found... Oh, wait, what's that? There's a little marker. Controls. Okay, I found the other set of controls. Again, this is the same dialogue I was here before. Oh, it's some sort of pathway. It looks... Okay, so you can see there's little discipline chairs here where misbehaving creations can be shackled in. That means I might be near a place where creations might be hiding out. Little by little, as you go on, you find clues. It doesn't... There's a ton of lore in this game. There's so much... It's a whole new world with its own politics and history and ideas and philosophy. And so one of the challenges writing it is I have to trickle it out in a very gradual, comprehensive way. So remember that the whole idea behind writing the Geneforge games is I want to write games that don't have bad guys. My main concept with writing Geneforge 1 was that I want to write a game where it's a role-playing game where you're told you have to find this head bad guy, and you explore and you find the head bad guy, and the bad guy says, hey, this is why I'm doing everything. And then you can go, wait a second, the bad guy actually has a good point. I'm going to switch sides and join the head bad guy and still get a satisfying ending. Because the head bad guy in Geneforge 1... He's weird and kind of crazy, but in his approach to things, he's not, an evil world destroyer. He has a point to what he's saying, and you can join him and still get a good ending. And it's the same way. There's 4 factions in this game, and each of them has an argument to make. You can join a faction, or you can get through the whole game and get a satisfying ending without getting any faction at all, joining any faction at all. You can just, because this is a rebellion, you can walk into the mountains. You can just scourge the whole place. You can just destroy everything and bounce the rubble and leave and still get an ending that reflects what you did. That's not going to be the happiest ending, but you did still end a rebellion, and therefore you will still get a reward. I really, really love the open-endedness of these games. These serval quarters are a mess. It smells terrible and there is refuse everywhere. You immediately see why. In the back of the quarters, you see three serviles. They are in hiding, trembling with fear. They've been here for some time, but somehow they have managed to evade the rogues. A rogue is the shaper term for any creation that is not under total control of the shapers. They're so hungry that they barely react when they see you. One of them manages a weak smile. Oh, they're so cute. I'm hungry. I'm scared. I'm scared. Yeah, they're fun. They're fun little fellas. They're bred to not be very smart. You will, of course, later on find serviles that are very smart and also very careful of about capable of fighting if you decide to not help to fight their faction. Okay, the Serval walks up to you shyly. He is a miner, trapped back here after the latest group of rogues infested the mines. His hands are worn from long toil and a small pick hangs from his belt. So what I was saying, by the way, with the lore is that little by little I'm indicating to you that although you start the game as Shaper, the Shapers are not very nice in a lot of ways, and so rebelling against the Shapers is a very viable option. It's the option most people pick, honestly. And one of the things I really tried to do in writing the factions in these games is to make sure that everyone wants to join one of the factions. Like, there is no faction that is completely bad. That some of the factions get really weird and crazy, but there will be people who play each. For every faction, there's someone who will play it and look at that faction and go, no, they're right. Those are the good guys. Those are the ones I should join. Um, and so, there are people who say loyal to the Shapers. People tend to sympathize with the Serviles and help the Serviles rebel. That is the most popular option. But if you wanna be weird, you don't worry, I'll let you be weird. All right, follow me. I will lead you back to Dry Peak. Yes, Shaper, good Shaper, save us. For example, there is one faction called the Takers, and called that because they're determined. Oh, hello, more monsters. Because they're determined to take their freedom, and I really tried to rewrite them in this to make them seem more sane and more comprehensible and more like they have a point. Which I think I succeeded. I really tried to emphasize that the takers are dangerous and they really hate the shapers, but they're not insane. They have a plan, and it's a plan that can work. Okay, the servals are following. Oh, look, more gems that I can sell. What's this? Trash, trash, and a 3-charge fiery wand. That's really useful. That could help in some tough fights because after this, I gotta take these serviles to safety, and then I'm gonna go out and look for a tough fight. First, I'm gonna save though. Yeah, I forgot how to set up a stream. So like I didn't have time to post on Facebook the stream was happening because at 3:59 I was panicking trying to figure out how to get the stream started and I only figured out how to do it at the last second. There they are. Come on, you idiots. I'm spending valuable stream time saving your lives. They're so funny. Hooray! Yeah, it's this is I'm not oh yeah. So there's another character here who can make this. If you don't want to mess with the pylons and the traps, you can talk to this warrior, and she will join you and help you slaughter stuff. And that is another pacifist type route. I say pacifist because people understand what it means. It's not really pacifist. Talking, so you see the survivors are running out to safety. So talking someone else into slaughtering your enemies is not really pacifist. It's just the term. This is an orc. It's a little custom-made shaper meat. It's just a walking meatloaf. So, it's not. Here's stocks with chains next to them. Once again, the shapers are not the nicest of people. That was lore about the crops and how they don't grow around here. I gotta talk to the lady who made the quest, and then I'm gonna check chat in just a second. I want to do this quest turn in first. So here is Keeper Thosala, the keeper of the Sorrels. I found your Sorrels and rescued them. Yes, they found their way back to me. Thank you. They were very upset, but I managed to calm them down. I would like to pay you back somehow for your help. How about this? I know you are just an apprentice, and I have learned a valuable spell for helping Sorvals when they get sick. This is a bug. This message is wrong. I have to fix this. Maybe you do not know yet. If you can find the instructions in my chambers upstairs. I had to make this change for rebalancing because I forgot to put a skill trainer in the beginning, so I made that skill. So I'm upstairs. You can see the serviles are messy, messy creatures. You can see they leave just junk all over the place. At least serviles who are kept by the shapers are very messy. You will find out that independence rebel serviles who exist, spoilers, are very different in how they keep their homes. This chamber contains an oiled, heavily used textbooks. Shapers don't write a lot of textbooks. They gave permission for several of them to be placed in Dry Peak. Then the unfortunates assigned to here can learn the skills they need to operate the settlement. Using your mental training, you read the book very quickly, absorbing the instructions within. It's about the creation and care of thoughts. Perhaps useful to defend a remote colony, though nobody is making use of the knowledge. Your skill making thoughts increases. So now, I'll go back to if I go to my creations, my thought skill was 1, now it's 2, which means that my thought has gained a level. It's now level 6. My thought is quite a bit higher level than me, which is really nice because it'll hit things better. However, note I haven't really been working on my creation making skill. So note it says control level weak, which means that as your creations take damage, they can go rogue temporarily and flee or even turn on you. So if this thought gets too damaged, it gets really touchy. Later on, if I kept playing this game, which I won't because it would make me sleepy, I would be working on my skill, increasing my leadership and my shaping skills to get stronger control of my creations so that they're less likely to turn on me. For now, if I was playing a real game, I'd do a bunch of shopping, I'd do a bunch of selling, I go over here. This leads to an underground shaper research warren where I could buy skills. But, I'm streaming, and I'm not sure I want to do shopping now. I want to go out and get into more action. So I'm going to save the game. I'm going to see what other quests I have. See if I have a quest I would like to. So I don't want to do the Slay 3 Rogues because that requires one round. Let's see. Someone asked me to find saltweed. She said someone named Sharon had some for me. I could find, or find source of rogues. I think I do want to go inside and do a turn-in for this because I think I did this mission when I was streaming before. Oh no, I never did this mission. Okay. Well, this leads to kind of an exciting fight, so I should do this. Wait, that's so weird. I think... Oh, wait. I think I know what's going on is that I may have gotten the streams crossed, and what I'm playing is my own personal test save game, and I'm not playing the stream save game. I think in the stream save game I did this mission. Or tried to do this mission. But I might as well do it again because I have it, and it'll give you a chance to see me run around and do a lot of fights and show. So there are rogues all over the place. This whole area is infested by monsters, and they don't know why. At this point, there's all this stuff about rebellion and forbidden research and stuff going on in the mountains. At this point, my character hasn't found out about any of that. Right now, my character's just been sent on a mission to just find out what's going on in the mountains and talk to the shapers in charge. But when I got here, people are coming to me and saying, hey, there's rogues everywhere. And I'm like, there's not supposed to be. And they're like, you're a shaper. You're supposed to take care of that for us. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. So I was told that in the woods southwest of town, a lot of rogues were coming out. And now I'm in those woods to try to figure out where they're coming from. So now you'll look at here and you can see there's kind of trees. I mean, look at there's like trees everywhere, but there's mutant and twisted and scaly. It's some really cool art that I licensed that our freelancers didn't make, but I bought for cheap because I'm cheap and we don't have a budget. Anywho, oh, okay, wait, I've been here. I can see there was a big group of monsters here, and it's gone. So that means that I'd already started to explore this, but I ran out of time before I could do this mission. Or I mess it. Well, anyway, I'm gonna do this mission. So I'm gonna look around for the source of the rogues. In my next life, I will do better preparation for these streams. By the way, I will be doing another stream. Streaming. So just ask, will this stream be available to catch up later? And the answer, maybe. I am recording this stream right now. I am so terrible at putting my streams up on YouTube. But this one and the next one, I'll try to put up on YouTube. So it'll be like 2 different 2-hour streams for me playing the early part of this game and explaining what's going on and who we are. And If I don't do it, our email address is support@spiderwebsoftware.com, or post in the discussion group and remind and say, hey, Bonehead, you're working hard to make this making this content. Please spend 5 minutes putting a stream up on Steam, on YouTube, and then maybe I'll do it. I'm freely, it's a small company, and we're not necessarily very good at marketing. Okay, I'm gonna, since it's here. So one of the things you're gonna find is that these mountains are these woods are infested by rogues, and you can see there's kind of scattered, and there's not many of them. One of the things I'm very good at doing in making these games, okay, there's still an enemy visible, whereas it's down here. One thing I'm doing is that, voiceover is expensive. Good graphics are expensive. Design is cheap, and writing is cheap. So that's a lot of what I depend on. So I work really hard on making sneaky and elaborate encounters to trick people. So note, these guys are wandering off, and they look like they're alone, so I'm going to run after them. Oh, and now he runs out. So note, they ran out, and they immediately ran for help. So what's going on is that they've just lured me into an ambush. And I can already see 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an artillery. They spit acid. They're artillery pieces. So when that gets in range, we're going to kill that pretty quick. So I can tell you now, just as a designer, this fight may go on for a while because they have lured me into an ambush. It's still early in the game, and I kind of know how to play the game. So it's not going to be a super difficult ambush. There's a much trickier fight later on in this because I'm about to do some serious investigation. There's another creation coming out of hiding. That one just called for help. So yeah, I just walked down a path and I saw two guys, and things are escalating very quickly now. And this is the service I sell because, again, there's a lot of features I don't give. It's an icon-based game, so it doesn't scale. You notice I'm not zooming in, I'm not zooming out. And if you play with like this, did my stream just die? Okay, I just got. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my monitor, and the stream. It looks like the stream might have just died, so I'm hitting refresh on my monitor. I apologize for this delay. Okay, we're back. Sorry. It looked like my stream cut out for a second, but now we're back. So what was I saying? So yeah, what I do and the way. So one of the problems with my games is that, for example, they don't support really 4K monitors. Oh, great! There's even more enemies. I'm glad I bought the area effect attacks. So where do I want to defend myself? Because now I'm being attacked on all sides. My shaper's in the middle. So I want to kill these two first. So I'm going to position them here. Our game... Oh no, I just targeted my own guy because I thought it was an enemy. Yeah, that may have been my proudest moment. I'm playing on normal difficulty. At higher difficulties, friendly fire comes into effect. That would have been very awkward. So what do I want to do? This one's right by my shaper. I'm gonna run up. I'm gonna try to stun this guy. Okay, good. These guys are really these guys are very stun resistant, but I did manage to land a stun. So I'm gonna back up, and then what I'm gonna use is daze. And I'm going to try to shut these guys down for a couple turns. Okay, this one resisted the daze, but this one is out of action for a little bit. That one called for help, but they should be by now running out of help to call. So now I'm in the middle of a swarm. So I can already tell you that my shaper is going to think really hard about casting daze again. But for now, who can I take out of the fight? I want to get rid of this one. And then that gives my shaper the opportunity to run for safety. Okay, good. This is mine. His stun is used, so I'm going to start whittling this one down. My shaper is poisoned for 2 more turns by the Artila. So I'm going to back off. And I don't have enough energy. So I've used a bunch of my energy, and I haven't increased my energy because I'm low level, so I can't cast Daze again yet. I'm not going to heal myself yet, so I'm going to... Actually, I'm gonna use that Fire Wand I just picked up. You You know how people, everyone who plays these games hoards consumables, but for now, I don't know. Okay, so this Thawed ran up, and Thawed punches can daze enemies, and it just dazed my Fiora, so I just lost my Fiora for a turn. Unfortunate. Okay, this... And on top of that, remember how I was talking about how you can lose control of creations? Well, my Thawed lost half its health really fast, and now it's running away for a turn. So this is there's some problems with the situation here. So I'm gonna hold tab and see this Thought I dazed is still dazed. So that's good, but I'm going to start doing kind of a fighting retreat. Soon I'm going to have to go back to town and heal and be content with all of the clearing away I did. Because I have made some progress. Okay, so my A attack is back. I'm going to want this one to start doing an A soon. So right now I'm going to start working on this one. And then this fellow will become active. Oh, unfortunate. So it's in the zone of control of this Thawed. So it can't position itself yet to use its A attack effectively. My pet Thawed over here is still running around in circles in a panic. I'm going to use one of my limited javelins to try to get rid of this guy. The Artilla is still tormenting us. So yeah, a pretty inoffensive situation turned into a real big mess real quick. Fortunately, the Artillas are fragile because they're... Oh, good. My almost dead Thawed is back in the fight. Gonna run up and see if I am close enough to... No, I'm not close enough to hit it. Almost. Yeah, this... One of the nice things about being served by creations is they're disposable. They're just my servants, and I'm a shaper. I don't care if they die or not. So usually when I play personally, I explore a dungeon and keep pushing and pushing and pushing until all my creations die off, and I go back to town and rest, and I make new creations. I'm pretty heartless about it. But there's a lot of just sort of role-playing elements that emerge naturally from this game. A lot of people hate to play this way. There are players who take a pride on never having a creation die. And so, if they were in this situation, they would do their best to save this Thawed over here and reload if the Thawed died. And that's a role-playing choice. When people do things like that, I think that's really awesome and really fun, and I encourage that. Does it make a big effect on the game and whether you win the game or not? Not really. But it gives you a chance to express yourself and how you want to play the game, and that's what role-playing games are all about. Just checking chat for questions. Oh yes, someone comments. So someone asked about what's the point of remastering Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5. There are also a lot of game system changes that I think massive... Oh, look, did another Artilla show up down here? Well, I hope it doesn't attack us. A lot of the reason to remaster the newer games is that I've really seriously rebalanced and reworked the game system. So now in my spirit, there's an isolated Artilla, and I am going to kill the heck out of it because my creations aren't dead yet. So there are design choices in the overall Geneforge series, in Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5, that as time goes on, I think can be improved. I think that there's a better way. One of those is that in the olden days, when you had a creation, it got a share of your experience and it gained levels. And if it died, that experience it absorbed was gone forever. So what people would often do is they'd start with the basic level 1 creation, and they'd stick with them the whole game. They'd never want to replace them because later on, you'll be gaining the ability to make really crazy, powerful creations that can do all sorts of cool stuff, but no one would ever make them because you wouldn't want the waste of getting rid of your original creations. This game does not work that way. The creations gain levels off of your skills, and if you lose a creation, if this Thawed is level 6. Oh wait, I gotta leave combat first. Okay, so I'm gonna save now because I managed to get myself out of a mess. I'm gonna let my poison wear off. So you can see this... Oh no, I'm caught up from escape and other creations that have snuck up on me. This Thawed is level 6. If I use this absorb button to absorb it and made a new one, it would still be level 6. This is an enormous change in how the series plays. and I think that it is an enormous, enormous improvement. Oh, you see how damaged? Oh, look, both the morale of two of my creations broke. So when I start gaining levels, I'm going to need to invest in making my creations stronger and more resilient. Okay, leave combat and wait a second for these bozos to decide that they want to join the party again. A little nest over here to loot, and there's a little walkway that's maybe a kind of a hint that I'm heading in the right direction to find something. Living tool that I can pick locks with. Okay, so I've already stumbled into another fight. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna clear this fight, and then I'm gonna take a quick trip back to town to heal up. Because, you know, I don't want to waste everyone's time by getting my party wiped, and I want to... Oh, look, it is so funny when you get to the point where these guys are breaking constantly. The, you know, in a sense, it's annoying. Wow, my Shaper's really wounded too. When did that happen? What am I doing? I'm going to end combat. I'm going to heal my Shaper. My essence getting really low. I only have essence for one or two more spells. And look, I've already been ambushed in. So if you're watching this game now, you might be thinking that this is nothing but trash fights forever and ever and ever. As a designer, I can tell you this is actually pretty clear. This is monsters are not respawning. There's a fixed pool of them, and I'm almost out. So this is going to be a quick little fight, and then I will be pretty free to walk back. Now, when you leave a zone, you see they're all calling for help, but at this point, there's no more help for them to call. So I'm going to run them around and clear them. What if you leave a zone and re-enter? I already have a belt, so I'm just going to put that in my junk bag to sell later. Let's see. So, just going to run back to town to heal. When you leave a zone that you have not conquered and return to it, when you're in a friendly town, you heal automatically. Note the quests. There are two quests here: slay 3 rogues and find source of rogues. There are 3 special named rogues wandering around in these wastes that you can kill to do a quest. I'm not worrying about that quest right now. Now that I've re-entered this zone and it's not cleared yet, some monsters will respawn, but it's a short percentage. So partly, you know, it is a farming opportunity. Some people farm, although I try to discourage too much farming in my games, too much grinding. I don't think grinding is fun. I would much rather write a shorter game with minimal grinding. Okay, so look, I found a town or a settlement or some such thing. So I'm going to surprise this guy who had not seen us yet. Humans once tried to settle this area. You can see the ruins of what looks like a monastery. It has been abandoned for decades. The encroaching trees are slowly tearing it apart. It is active now, though. You see plenty of tracks, and not just from rogues. Someone wearing boots, humans or serviles, has recently been walking in and out. So we're starting to get hints now that this is... Oh, look, someone was hiding right around the corner. Clever girl. That's what you say when a velociraptor sneaks up on you. Clever girl. Oh, got a weird little speed hitch there. Let's see, keep running around. I'm going to try to finish off this one. Nope, almost. Close one nose. Hello! The swarm has emerged, but fortunately this one's... My Fioras still had their area effect attacks. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape to cancel this and reposition so I can hit all 3 of them. So as I was saying earlier, that's part of the reason to remaster. Geneforge 5 is almost playable. It has kind of a new enough engine that it's still sort of playable, but in terms of balance and how the game system works, a lot of the game balance in the older games is really kind of messed up too. I'm really happy with the balance of Geneforge 1 and Geneforge 2, the remasters. I think this balance is like just about at a perfect shine. And the Geneforge games I wrote 20 years ago, it took, I've been doing this. The designs of these games are all me. Um, except for the Kickstarter backers some Kickstarter backers can design quests and items, but 99% of the game design in these is me, and I'm just one guy, and I've been learning. I've been spent the last 30 years learning continuously. We've released 28 games counting remasters, and every time I remaster a game, I come up with something that makes me go, this is real. Wait, this is how I should have been doing this all along. Why am I not doing it this way? And little by little, it's like I'm going to retire. My plan is to semi-retire in about 12 years. I'll still always be polishing these games, but I want to finish everything I want to finish in 12 years. And I think that in 12 years from now, I might almost be good at writing video games. Okay, what do we got here? So normally these doors have living mechanisms underneath that sense the presence of creatures nearby and open. This one's not opening. As the designer, I know that you sneak in through this way. This, on the other hand, is a door. Living tools required. Living tools, you have 3. I'm going to pick this lot. So we're gonna, oh, hello. So this is a big room, and I can already see rogues walking around in it. So something's going on in there. But first, I'm going to see what I can find in here. So you can see it's over. Oh, good. I've already triggered a mess. Oh, there's a body here. Eventually I'll search it, but for now, one of the guards in there saw me when I was walking by. My stealth has not been trained, so, and here they come. Well, let's just... Fortunately, I will tell you, knowing as the designer, that this is actually... I'm going to reposition myself one more space before I do this. I happen to know as a designer that although I did this kind of accidentally because I got distracted while walking into this room, this is actually how I want you to do this fight. I want you to lure the enemies out, except that I just set my melee guy in and that triggered the full fight. This was once the main hall of the monastery. It is currently occupied. You stare in horror at the monstrosity at the south end of the room. It is a huge shaped fungus unlike anything you've ever seen before. Several tentacles sprout out at the top and long roots stretch from its base into the pool of essence behind it. As you watch, the beast flails its tentacles around. There is a grunt and the smell of essence. A small, fresh artilla, damp with slime, oozes out of the hole at the top. You have never heard of a creation like this one, with the ability to generate its own creations. Shaper Lock completely forbids making creations that shape. The risks if such a creature grows rogue are huge. Whoever created this monster must be tracked down, but first it must be destroyed. So, I'm a couple hours into the game, and this is a real lore dump. I've dropped a lot of information here. The Shapers have laws. One of the laws is that only Shapers can make things. You can't make a creation that can make creations, because that creates chain reactions that go out of control. The whole story of the Geneforge saga is what happens when creations figure out how to create creations, and the enormous continent-burning disaster that follows. This is also where you learn that incredibly crazy out-of-control magic is happening in these mountains. This is a big plot advancement. But for now, and this is your first spawner, people who are fans of the series and familiar with this series know that spawners show up a lot. And look, right next to it, fresh artilla. Okay, well, fortunately, because we were able to accidentally lure all of the spawners' guards out, this will not be as near a tough a fight as it was going to be. This fight can really be quite tricky, especially if you just charge straight in. Even so, right now, I have a fair amount of essence left. So I'm going to be tricky. I'm going to investigate. I'm going to try to... I want to ignore... I want to ignore the ads and burn down the boss. Now, the boss made another Artilla, and it's going to be cranking out these things pretty fast. But I'm going to try to focus fire down the spawner. So you see, it's got a fair amount of health. But a low enough amount that I should be able to kill it pretty quickly, because its friends are not going to be wailing on me. Well, one of them will. Oh, this thing can do stuff too. So it's Spawners can defend themselves. This, by the way, is a difference from the original game. This is another difference that will affect Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5. Spawners did not have attacks in the original Geneforge series. That was a problem because if you had a big party and could kill all of the spawns really quickly, the spawners were helpless. Spending a bunch of time thunking on a harmless enemy isn't that interesting. It plays a lot more interesting if the spawner has it's a weak area effect attack. So it's enough to slowly whittle you down, but it's not enough to be a major factor. It just makes the thing play in a more interesting way. But I think I can take the spawner down now. Even the hardiest creation can die if you apply enough violence. Eventually, all of the blows you have given this strange spawner beast do the job. Reeking goo oozes from gashes in its side. Its tentacles droop, it slumps to the side. This thing must have been the source of the rogues afflicting Dry Peak. Now that it is dead, the town will be able to control the lands around it. An improvement, yes, but your problem remains. Something created this horror, and recently. Who and why? It just occurred to me, you never find out in the game who created this specific spawner. Because there's multiple factions. There's two different factions who place these things, the Takers and the Barzites. And I never say which one made this one. 20 years, it never occurred to me to wonder that. But on the other hand, I will sleep well tonight knowing that it is a piece of information of no consequence whatsoever. I do still have 2 ads to take care of. I think, let me see, this one... The fresh Artilla is still very much alive. The rogue is dazed, so I'm gonna take down the Artillas because they do the most damage. Or maybe I'll just miss it a whole bunch of times. Hey, stun this guy. Good. Artilla, unlike Thods, have no stun resistance. Artilla are magic-based creations. They are highly magically charged, they have magical artillery effects, and as a result, they are far more resistant to magical attacks. Similarly, the Fiora are fire-shaping type creations. Let me right-click on one of those. They don't have any resistances. You would think that I would give them fire or cold resistance. I don't, because I want the 3 creation branches. Someone has a question, I'll answer in just a second. I want the 3 creation branches to be sort of equal to each other in power. Fiora's weakness is that they're jacks of all trades, masters of none. They have decent missile attacks. They have decent melee attacks. They're not that great at anything in particular. So that so I don't hamstring them with any sort of weird resistances. The Velociraptors. Okay, making progress. The Fiora are kind of the trademark monster of the series. I realized very early on that there is a big marketing hook to immediately letting the player control a bunch of fire-breathing velociraptors. That was my instinct when I was creating these games, an instinct that turned out to be entirely correct. Someone asks, is there a lore reason why spawners drop crystals? No, and honestly, it doesn't really make sense. I think spawners started dropping crystals because I wanted them to drop money. They're kind of a bossish creature, and I wanted you to always, in addition to magic items, get a cash infusion from dropping them. But I didn't. I thought coins felt weird. I thought that crystals felt more interesting, and I could make an argument that Shaper technology has a lot of organic, inorganic combinations, like the living tools or the batons or the certain mines. It's a living thing with inorganic components. So it made sense to me that somewhere in the spawner there would be like crystal structures to help it function. So that kind of made sense to me too. So take your pick. So this dropped the Cloak of Wind, which is a user created item. This is actually this is just a backers, certain tier Kickstarter backers were allowed to make a magic item. And someone wanted a wind cloak, which helped all wind-related abilities. And so I created the Cloak of Wind. And the Cloak of Wind is extremely powerful. It is actually, and now I'm just talking as a designer here about what happens and the way and why I made it. So this item is too powerful to be appearing at this point in the game. It gives you the air shock ability, which is super expensive, but it's a very powerful spell. It gives you the guardian push ability, which is a very powerful weapon shaping ability. Not as good as air shock, but still really useful. And it improves your stealth. Very few items do that. So this is plus it's just really really good. The reason I put it here, even though it's too good for this point, is because first of all, it's neat. It's a really cool item. I really like this design because it helps every sort of character, including pacifist characters or pacifist leaning characters a little bit. You know, even if you're not playing pacifist, stealth can still be super useful. There's a lot of times when you want to use it to set up a good fight. Yeah, it's just neat. It's flavorful and it's powerful, but it's not so powerful to carry through the whole game. You are going to switch to a different cloak at some point. And that was why I kept it here. I just thought it just made it just felt like it worked. Let's see. So, and this is a boss room, so I'm going to loot a couple more things. There's a bunch. Shaper equipment is worth 30 gold. It's a lot more valuable because it's shaper equipment is good. My poor thought is slowly dying of poison over there, but let's see. A chilling band. I already have a shielding band. A chilling band is not as good armor, but it gives good fire resistance. I'm going to hang on to that or now because, especially at higher difficulty levels, that looks like another ring. Oh, this is just money. I'm going to control click it to put in my junk bag to sell later. Resist gear, especially at higher difficulty levels, is very useful. Oh, wait, no. There was a body down here. Did I search this body? It's another thorn baton, which is good as I'm running low. An armor pod, which is useful. No, this is chitin armor. So there's a lot of sorts of armor that is not made of metal, but is actually, again, it's an item that's actually bred. This is like a sort of shell that is grown by shapers to make. It's the basic sort of introductory armor, but there's also you find chitin that's been enchanted. It's just another sort of lore thing that I have a lot of fun with. Okay, I have a lot. Okay, so I just accidentally put a potion in my junk bag, and I can't remove stuff from my junk bag yet. And this is a fine cloak. This is nice. Except, why did I put a cloak upgrade that's small right outside the room where you get a cloak upgrade that's huge? The answer is because I want to put it in my junk bag and sell it. There's a bronze sword here. I need to upgrade to my bronze sword. I need to have put 1 point in my melee skill. I'm never going to do that because I'm a shaper. That gets sold. I'm just going to keep using a dagger. There are eventually weapons you can find that are shaper weapons that make your shaping stronger. Or if you're an agent, which is more of a spellcasting class, you find weapons that make your spellcasting stronger. But for now, I'm not going to rely on brute force. I rely on my creations to do my work for me. So as you can see, I have mostly cleared this zone. Now, these zones tend to be very rich in details. This is a big zone. There's a lot of stuff. There's a whole path here with a bunch of stuff in it. You can see I never explored all of the rooms in the ruined monastery. There's things here. There's special encounters in here. There's a named here that you have a quest to kill up here. I don't like leaving bare terrain. I like leaving. I like to make sure that you never go too far without finding something neat or unusual. Again, I can't afford really first-rate AAA production values, but design is free and writing is free. So I'm trying to make sure that you never go too far without something cool. So just know there's a lot of stuff around here. I am not going to do that though. I'm gonna go turn in. I'm gonna go back to the Dry Peak Warrens. This is which I've not been to in this stream, and I'm going to do the turn in for this quest. So let me see. Find Source of Rogues, which I've done, and that's from Guardian Nora, who is in here. Let's see. So just so you know, I'll bring up the world map to see where we are. So this is the town. This is the mines from the start of the stream. This is where we just were, and this is the Dry Peak Warrens. This is a major shaper research facility, and this is the headquarters for one of the 4 main factions. This is the headquarters for the Shaper loyalists who want to follow the Shapers. This is Shaper Zachary, who has a ton of dialogue and is very well defended. But over here, up here, this is where Guardian Nora was. Let's see. I need information. I found the source of the rogues and I destroyed it. She has a lot of dialogue, but I'm not going to worry about that. You describe the bizarre spawner creature in your battle with it. The creature's existence is plainly a huge surprise to the Guardian. She is disturbed. Also, despite herself, she is impressed by your skill. She says, Dry Peak appreciates your aid, Shaper. I will tell the others here of the aid you have given us. I will also unlock one of the vaults in the southeastern storerooms for you. Though you were not officially given this task, it seems wrong to not reward you. I require supplies. We have no supplies to spare. I am sorry. Okay, well, begging doesn't work, but I can still... I'm gonna buy some more spells, and I'm gonna go see if I can find that storeroom with my reward. So that weird whooshing noise you're hearing, these are Shaper lighting fixtures that turn off and on when you get close. Let's see, so that just says these are supply halls. You can see there's a few guards kicking around. Let's see, someone points out that in this game, Artilas, which were just attacking me, you see Artilas, I can't create Artilas yet, um, they spray poison instead of acid, and poison is nowhere near as powerful. The answer is there are two sorts of Artilas. Like if I move the mouse behind the Artila is the upgraded version of Artila, which I'm blanking on the name of. Basic Artilas spit poison, the stronger Artilas spit acid. So later on you will be fighting Artilas that spit acid. I had the low-level Artilas not spit acid anymore because it was way too strong. Oh my god, it was way, way too strong for when it was introduced. So again, this is another thing where this is why I remaster these games. The balance... There were balance elements of the old games that was just completely messed. So I'm going to see what I can find. Okay, another baton. Oh, a venom baton. This is a new sort of more powerful baton. Note, however, I can't use it yet because I'm going to go back to my skills and take a look. Melee weapons, 0 weak. Missile weapons, 0 weak. Because I'm a Shaper. I'm the wizard class. I make creations to fight me. My creation skills are strong. Strong means that it's very cheap to upgrade it. Weak means it's very expensive to upgrade it, which is why this is a whole bunch of zeros. See, my experience bar has almost fallen. I'm about to gain a level. I can do some training. But for now, you can see this is... I'm never going to increase my melee or missile weapon skills, so in this particular path, venom batons exist to be sold. So I'm putting that in my junk bag. I'm putting the venom thorns in my junk bag and putting the gelt in my junk bag, and then the junk bag I'll just sell everything in it at some point. So that's some of the rewards that were available for me here. Let's see what's down here. Grounded boots. This is a magic item. It's slightly worse physical armor, but it gives me some magical resistance. So I'm going to put that on. Put the other one in my junk bag, put the cloak in my junk bag. So that was my reward for this quest. A better baton, which for 2 of the 3 character classes was a big upgrade. Not so much for me, and a pair of nice resistance boots. But since I'm down here, here's a book that adds something to my codex. There's a lot of lore for that, especially for people who played Geneforge 1. Not going to go into it. I'm looking... Okay, so this is not my property. That's what the NY means. It's not yours. If I steal enough stuff, people are going to kill me. But... So, there's not many guards here, so I could steal all of this, but I'm not gonna worry about that now. You see, here's the guards. Occasionally they go on little patrols, and you have to avoid them to steal stuff. Yeah, so by the way, so this is the sequel to Geneforge 1 Mutagen. I should give a new introduction because there might be some new people. So just a quick introduction. My name is Jeff Vogel. I am the co-runner of Spiderweb Software. We're a tiny family business that has been running since 1994. We've been making indie games for literally 30 years. And this is Geneforge 2 Infestation, which came out this morning. It's our 28th full-length game, counting remasters. We've written 18 all-new games, and then we've remastered a bunch of the older ones. And yeah, it's an inexpensive fantasy role-playing game. It's low budget and retro, but if you liked Baldur's Gate 3, this has a lot of that turn-based, story-heavy energy that you may enjoy. So let me train. Let's see. I want to learn how to shape creations. Okay, I can make Artilas. That would use most of my money. Wait, let me go back and see if I can. Okay, this is a trainer I can't sell. So first let me see what spells. I can improve Firebolt, which is really expensive. I can learn Searer, which is the next combat spell up. I can learn Rack, which is a very powerful slow and curse. Oh, I want to bless. I can improve my learning spells is cheap. Improving them, which means they do more stuff for the same bonus, is expensive. So I'm going to leave that alone. But I want to get blessings. Blessings are fairly strong in this game. So I want to get this straight up. I want to get more blessing. I should go sell soon. And you see, I've already played this, so there's a lot of mystery here. This whole area of here I haven't explored here. I haven't been allowed to go in there yet. And my lock picking isn't enough to get in there. Also, there's a stairway. People who are really familiar with this game series uh, might be going. Oh, someone asked about respecking. Is there a risk of building a broken character? Is there any way of resetting your skill points? Very good question. Once again, I worked really hard to make sure that this doesn't have trap skills and it doesn't have ways to mess yourself up by training poorly. On normal or veteran difficulty, most it should be kind of tricky to mess yourself up by training poorly. Once you've played 2 or 3 levels, you should have a really good idea of what's working and what doesn't, and be able to train well. Once you're playing on the hardest difficulty, Torment, you do have to be a lot more careful about how you're spending your skill points. There is a cheat code to let you respec your characters. The cheat codes are listed in the hint book, but honestly, by the end of the day, someone will have posted the cheat codes on every forum available, and I don't mind. I'm totally fine with people doing that. Respecking does not mess up achievements. There are a lot of. I specifically checked that this afternoon. There are some cheat codes that do prevent getting achievements, the ones that give you lots of raw power, but respecking does not. Respecking is kind of been a is kind of a standard role playing game feature now, and it should be. Okay, that I don't. By the way, I don't like. The one thing I've never been happy with within these games is how the stairways look. I really need one game or another to find a way to make the stairways look better. That kind of looks cheesy. People who are really familiar with the game might be going, "Wait a second, this isn't in the game. What are you doing? This is a completely new location. This is a completely new location in the game with a whole new character. There were quests up, and there's a bunch of quest stuff hidden up here." But for now, that's a little bit of extra mystery. But like I said, there's a ton of new material, ton of new locations, new zones, new quest lines. Some quest lines that are very long and involved. There's a guy over here named Sensital who is new. Um, who has a quest line that I actually think is really neat that goes through the entire game. But for now, let's see, where are we at? It's 5:27. And my voice is starting to go. So, what do I want to do? Um, Part of what I need to do is my brain is kind of fried. I need to find some new quests and start doing them. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to town and I'm going to do a little bit of story stuff that you don't have to do to continue the game, but is nice to do. So they'll show a bit of what is going on. Now, there's a major and much loved character in this game named Agent Shanti. So you are a apprentice shaper when you start the game. You're learning how to be a shaper. You're learning to gain shaper powers, and you came here with Agent Shanti, who's your trainer. Now, she is the one who's told you that about your mission here, which is your initial mission is to meet 2 shapers who are in charge of this colony and find out what's going on with the colony. And she immediately detects that something wrong is going on, and she asks you to come see her as soon as possible. Shanti is settled into your temporary quarters. Well, settled isn't the right word. She's ready to slip out and start investigating, likely when the guards aren't looking. When you join her, she distractedly fingers her tooth necklace. We have a problem, a real problem. Our orders tell us to find Barzal. I do not believe he is dead. I think we're being lied to. So you're supposed to find Shaper, Zachary, and Barzal. Shaper Zachary, we just walked by him in the Shaping Warrens, and he told you Barzal is dead. So we go home and report the problem to the Shaper Council. You earn a look of contempt. I am an agent. This is not a path for cowards. When we find a problem in the field, we don't run away and hide behind Mommy's apron. We solve it. Going home is a last resort. Why do you think Shaper Zachary is lying? Mostly a hunch. Learn to trust hunches, apprentice. A large part of it is that the death of a Shaper is a significant thing. I don't think Zachary would keep that knowledge to himself. What are you going to do? Shanti sighs. I need to sneak out and investigate, but only when I can. I am being watched closely. You, on the other hand, are an apprentice. They do not take you seriously. You can go where I can't. Explore the valley, see what you can find. When you learn something interesting, report back to me. Have you been able to sneak out and do any investigating? Only a little. Zachary has offered to give me an escort of guards whenever I go anywhere. The offer is not optional, it appears. I need to watch for opportunities to slip out. Why don't you just command the guards to leave you alone? Shanti smiles and shakes her head. Time for more learning, apprentice. In theory, I have great authority here. In practice, we are far from home. We are alone here. The area is dangerous and full of rogues. If Zachary were to feel threatened by us, it would be very easy for us to have an unfortunate accident. Remember that. There is law, and then there are ways law actually functions. Are you concerned? A good agent is always concerned about everything all the time. I admit that, at the moment, I am more concerned than usual. What can we do then? Fortunately, Zachary has limited forces. He can't spare soldiers to watch both me and you. I feel they have underestimated what you are capable of doing. We must learn to use that to learn the truth. So this dialogue was exceptionally carefully written. I think that game developers are often kind of sloppy with their stories about their motivations, about explaining why this character is doing this, why that character is doing that, why things are set up the way they are, why what is going on is what is going on. So since it's the beginning of the game, I think you can tell I've really carefully put this dialogue together to make it. Shanti's being really clear. This is what is going on. It is messed up. This is why it is messed up. This is how we are going to react. This is why we are reacting that way. And in doing so, it not only sets up the story for you in a satisfying way, but it's dropping a lot of lore. It's telling you a lot about how the world works, about how the world works the way it does, and about the difference between what the law says and how the world actually works. And it's important to have just sort of a subtle, in a game like this, to have just a subtle drip of that information, to keep fleshing the world out and expanding it and answering the questions and making it real in your head. Once again, I can't afford fancy graphics, but I can always afford to do that. And I have to rely on carefully crafted words to create this world in your head, since God knows these cheap-ass graphics aren't going to do it for you. Another reason I want to do these remasters, this is something that over the last 20 years I've gotten a lot better at. I've really worked hard on polishing the dialogue in this game. Let's see. Any more training or skills you can give me? Regretfully, no. Unfortunately, before we left, I was told specifically what skills I can teach you, and I have done so. The Shaper's laws are very, very strict on what secrets can be taught. Some flexibility would be useful here, but alas, there is none. So, and it was a little bit of a plot hole, because I was just at a merchant that would teach me any damn thing under the sun if I handed her money. And this is one of those things where what works as a story and what works as a computer fantasy role-playing game are kind of in tension. I have to be able to train you because it's a game, but you're not supposed to because that's how the story works. And that's just something where I kindly ask you, the customer, to forgive me if it's a tiny bit wonky. Let's see. So there are no ways to learn while I'm here? I didn't say that, only that there are limits to what I personally can teach you. However, in our bedroom, I have left a book for you. Some theory on how we Shapers do what we do might be instructive. Also in Zachary's Hall, there are people who can teach you some simpler spells for a price. You should take advantage of that. So I guess it's kind of explored there. I'm not entirely satisfied with that explanation, but, I don't think it keeps anyone from buying the game. Okay, so she gave me access to a box with a ton of clothes. Not really very useful. On the table is a candle and a bowl. Not useful, but there is a book. Shanti's Guidance. So this is a codex entry with a bunch of lore explaining the world works. Is there really did I not leave any useful items in this room? What kind of a madman am I? I should have put a potion in here or something. I was actually kind of excited about that. I was like, ooh, I'm going into Chinese room. But I'm gonna find a laser sword or something. No, I found garbage. I found a codex entry. Ah, well. Someone comments the character portraits during dialogue are a notable change. Yes, the old game didn't have character dialogues, and obviously I can't afford a ton of character dialogues. I only have character dialogues for the major characters. But like Shawnee has a nice portrait. That's a big improvement. Similarly, this art has been redone here. The original Geneforge character art was terrible. I mean, it's you should the Geneforge Saga is on Steam. Like the original Geneforge sagas are on Steam, games or Steam are on Steam for cheap. You should take a look. Oh man, even by our standards, there is some art in the old games that just stinks on ice. Um, Anywho, so honestly, yeah, it's getting close to the end of the stream. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start. We're just told to explore the valley. I would kind of like in the next 2 hour stream to get to the end of the prologue, which means I'm going to bring up the map and show you. First, let me save. Thank you. I'm gonna. What I probably do is I'll record this stream and the next stream and put those up on YouTube because it's got a lot of good explanation and a lot of good action in it. I want to go here. This is the goal. This is where you go into the game, and I'm pretty sure I can play through all of that in 2 hours. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting there, which means I need to explore and find my way up. So this is a zone I've not been to in this stream. This is the rogue-infested farmland. Look, there's some cute little orcs. Oh, they're baby. Just outside of the town walls. If you go down here, there was monsters, and then if I went through this path down here, then I ended up in the zone where I killed the spawner. So that's the story with that. I was really kind of scattered when I started the stream because for a second I didn't think there was going to be a stream at all. Oh, good, more monsters, just what I needed. Now let me run up and throw fire upon them. Oh, there's a dead servile there. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so this area, this is a very introductory level, so I should be a lot, at least in this zone, I should be able to clear things pretty quickly. Level, oh good, I'm going to be able to train. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is, I'm just programming my quick use slots because I wanted my blessing spell available. So once again, I'm gonna train. I've done so much combat. I want to show you the training system. Someone says the original Guardian sprite was quite iconic with its Crusader helmet. Yeah, okay. So the design was good, the implementation was bad. All of these graphics have been redone. So these graphics, you can see, these are redone with the original models, but they're re-rendered to look a lot better and be properly anti-aliased and stuff like that. What I want to do in the next 12 years as part of the remasters, what I want to do is I want to redo the human system so that it becomes paper dolls with mix and match armor and clothing. I want to try to do that for the next remaster. But to do that, you need a freelancer who, one, is really skilled, and two, has a lot of time. I think I might be able to, I have Ben Resnick, the guy who's been doing art for our games forever, is super good. And I've talked to him about doing that kind of an art remaster, which would make the Guardians look, even better. But for now, yeah, the designs are great, and we're just, we're staying faithful to the old designs, but they could use a modern pass. You find the burned remains of a servile. This unfortunate was hunted and trapped by a rogue Fiora. Oddly, the servile was armed. He had a sword in one hand and a baton in the other when he died. This is very strange. Why would a servile be armed? So once again, that's okay. So it's another baton. Batons are still useful for this character. I am gonna equip a baton, and I'm gonna get rid of the javelins. Another bronze sword I will never be able to use, and all this stuff goes in my junk bag. By the way, if you play to the end of the game and meet a million armed serviles, then go back and use this servile, it will still give you the message where you're confused about an armed servile. That's one of those wonky little things where if I was a better developer with more time, I would have fixed it. But, my career in this business is nothing but one perpetual, unending begging for forgiveness. So if you have been a fan of my games for a long time, thank you for um, thank you for sticking with me. By the way, Herazade is that's Marianne, my business manager wife, and the wind beneath my wings. So when she's being snarky, trust me, this is she is not a random internet troll. This is just how we talk to each other about these games. She's been working for Spiderweb since 1996. No, 97. She started working for quit her job and started working for Spiderweb after Exile 3 Ruined World came out. So Herazade has been working for Spiderweb for 27 years. Truly a life well spent. Okay, so I just walked out of that zone into Sharon's Grove. So if you this forest has the mix of twisted malformed trees and cacti you've gotten used to around Dry Peak. As you walk down this path, the forest changes. It grows very still and cold. Your alert shaper senses detect that you're being watched. Every once in a while, a small creation scuttles through the underbrush. It pokes its head out, looks at you, and runs away. You suspect that there is a shaper nearby, and that shaper knows you're coming. So if you were paying attention at the very beginning of the stream, I did have a quest to go to Sharon's Grove to ask her for some herbs. Oh no, there's horribly powerful monsters. We're about to be killed. As you walk down the path, the creation startles you by moving into view just ahead. A tough one, dangerous enough to give even a shaper pause. You reflexively adopt a ready stance, prepared to defend yourself if necessary. Fortunately, the creation is neither rogue nor hostile. It seizes its patrol and inspects you briefly. Something about you convinces it that you are an acceptable visitor. It silently continues its patrol. They must have a controller nearby. If you do anything to annoy it, however, escaping the grove may be difficult. So I will just say, for lore purposes, Sharon lives here. She is a powerful, friendly shaper researcher. She has a lot of quests, lots of ways you can help you, a lot of tests, a lot of stuff you can do. Talking to her, there's interesting stuff, and we are going to bypass all of it because it's very dialogue heavy, and that doesn't stream great. Oh, there's an obelisk here. What does that say? Sharon's Grove. All who wish to learn are welcome. Ignorant intruders are destroyed. Well, that I am. What about people who just walk through as quickly as possible to try to get to where the game starts? That is me. I am saving and I'm moving through because I want to set up for next stream. Okay, so note this is still not cleared. I think to clear it, you just have to talk to Sharon. Also, I will tell you, if I would have explored the Dry Peak Fields more, you could leave to the west. There's a zone here, but your note Dry Peak Mines, and there was an Western Mines section too, which is far more difficult and requires far more technical skill. But as for now, I'm exploring a new zone. Note I'm not in the mines yet. The mines start over here. I'm not going to explore those because I'm making a beeline for the good stuff. Let's see what's down here. Oh, good, a storeroom. I love storerooms. Okay, bags of meal, I can just... And the bars of iron, I had a quest to get those. Let's see what these random boxes have. More junk. Okay, I'll take thorns. Thorns are good. These will be sold. Put all of that in my junk bag. The junk... oh, steel javelins. That might actually be worth having. Okay. So over here is a junk bag. This is a convenience added to our recent games. To the person who asked why remaster Geneforge 4 and Geneforge 5, wouldn't you like to play those again with the junk bag? The junk bag is it's just a convenience mechanism. If you find something that you want to sell but you don't want it taking up your pack, you control click it or you drag it in here. Like I'm going to take these crystals and I'm going to put them in the junk bag, and then you can just sell them all at once. There is a limitation to the junk bag. You cannot take things out of it unless you're in town. This is where you put junk. This is where you put the trash that you don't want anymore. And basically, I let you store it to sell it at your convenience so that it doesn't take up, and that frees you up to use your 25 pack slots for useful items. The one balance thing about this is that when you explore a new section, you do have to kind of have a build. And when I say you have to have a build, what I mean is, I don't need that much food. I'm just getting rid of some stuff. You have to have a build. And when I say you have to have a build or a loadout, you have to decide what items you want. Now, 25 25 is a pretty decent pack size, but what are you? But it's limited. What are you gonna put in it? You may want to have some spaces for resist gear. You may want to have some spaces for wands, for spare weapons, for pods, for bandages, but you can't carry everything in the world into combat. So I give you 25 items, and all that. Later on, you find charms, which are items that give you bonuses when they're in your pack. So, do you want to give up the ability to be carrying around your healing pods, but in return you have a charm giving you passive bonuses all the time? That is a decision you have to make, and a limiting factor in these games. Bearing in mind, of course, that if you are a normal player, at the end of the game, you will still have 87 healing pods and 913 speed pods and 423 curing pods that you all saved for the final fight and then didn't use. I have came up with one game that has really satisfying consumables that you need to and want to use all the time. It is called Queen's Wish, and it turns out that that feature is not enough to get people to buy a game. I'm joking. Queen's Wish 1 sold very well, and we were very happy with how Queen's Wish 1 did. Queen's Wish 2, maybe not so much. Okay, so I found a farm. And the farm has some servals wandering around. Let me talk to serval. Several tired and scared servals are at work in this small farm. Being around rogues is very upsetting to servals. None are in sight, but these workers can sense the invaders. It must take a lot of work to keep them under control. You talk to the serviles, but you don't learn much. By the way, the stream will be ending in just a few minutes. I'm just going to get to the end of this zone to set things up for this next stream, which is Saturday afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. By the way, this I've had a lot of fun doing this. I felt really exhausted, really wrecked when this stream started because I've been just run like a madman all day. But this has actually been fun. And I know this sounds crazy for me to say this, but this is a fun game to play. I actually enjoy playing this game. I don't usually like playing my games, but recently the games I've come up with more recently, they're kind of fun to play. I know that sounds just like a weird thing to be surprised to say. How fortunate for me that my games don't suck. But yeah, it's pretty good. Someone says, can you still only sell the entire contents of the junk bag at once, or can you choose what you want to sell from it? Why would you only want to sell part of your junk bag? It's full of junk. Um, that's the answer. The junk bag. So I hope the stream is still working because I'm reset it loading the stream window now because the stream froze, and I hope that people are hearing this. Okay, good, my stream is back. Um, there is a fun debate between me and my players about the purpose of the junk bag, because a lot of people want to use the junk bag as an infinite storeroom that they carry around, which is understandable. I wish I had an infinite storeroom I carry around, but I just want the junk bag to be a convenience thing for selling things. And so there is a compromise, which is it is an infinite storage thing that you can carry around, but you can only access it when you would normally be able to sell items, which is in town. So you can carry around all of the stuff in the world, but once you get to town, you can't really fiddle around with it until you're in town. For me to add a feature to sell the entire content, to selectively sell the junk bag, would be a lot of programming and it'd be really finicky in order to be able to do a thing that I kind of don't want you to be able to do. So it's convenient within the limits of balance. So it's a reasonable thing to ask for. I know why you're asking for. It's just that I have a reason for it being the way it is. Okay, so I'm going to talk to Sifar. Where does the name Sifar come from? A lot of characters in it. When I designed this game, I was playing a lot of serious raiding, EverQuest raiding. EverQuest was like World of Warcraft before there was World of Warcraft, and I raided EverQuest hardcore for years. And a lot of the characters in this are named after people in my EverQuest guild. The one difference, one of the key exceptions of that is one of the most important characters in this game is named Agent Shanti. I knew a woman named Shanti in New Jersey, and I thought she was really nice, so I named it after her. She never knows. I haven't seen her in over 30 years. I'm sure she's completely forgotten I existed. She has no idea that people have been playing a game named after her for decades. Um, And most of the other names, I don't know where they came from. Let's see. So this farmhouse is an underground burrow. Let's see what Sifar has to say. You meet the owner of this small, struggling farm. Not surprisingly, he spends all his time armed. He must be a very determined person to stay out here, considering what has been happening. He is dirty and exhausted, unfit to receive visitors. Your unannounced visit shocks him into alertness. A shaper out here? That's a pleasant surprise. I'm glad to see you. I am Sifar. Welcome to my home. I'm going to skip the talking about the farm and I'm going to ask more about the area. South of here, there's a forest. I haven't been in there much. There's a lot of nasty creations in there, but not rogues. Those paths are peaceful, but they make me nervous. Too still, I think. So that's Sharon's Grove. East of here is the mines. It's a mess in there. Be careful. West of here is wasteland. There's lots of rogues out there, and they're all nasty. I could handle them, but it's always a tough fight. Too tough. Oh, really? He knows how to fight. Could you help me get past the wasteland? That's tough. I'd like to, Shaper. I'd like to do anything that would help you help us. My farm needs looking after, though. I should stay here. So note, you can pay money, or I'm going to try to convince him. I'm a Shaper. I am here to help you. You try your best, but you aren't convincing enough. Shaper Shafar shakes his head. Yes, that is how it should be. However, no Shaper in these mountains has been willing to help us commons for some time. Commons, again, are common humans. That's humans that are not Shapers. Note this key sentence. You try your best, but you aren't convincing enough. In other words, that is too bad. If I trained some of my leadership, I could get him to join me. At least that is the inclination. So the stream is about to end very soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save Scum a little bit because I'm curious. I don't even have time to do it. I traditionally end streams by doing something really stupid and getting myself killed. But I actually got too caught up in yakking and playing this game to do that. So actually, let me first talk to let me try. This is not real training. I'm going to upgrade my leadership 2 points and see if I can get Sifar to help me. And how well will your farm do when the rogues get worse? This may be your last chance to help eliminate them. So you can tell when you have enough leadership because you say something really smart. He is not pleased to hear it, but your logic convinces him. This will be costly, Shaper. Yet, if I could have helped eliminate the plague and didn't, I would not deserve to be forgiven. Go west. When you get there, I'll meet you in the wasteland. So there, by just spending a few of my irreplaceable skill points, I have help getting through the zone to the west, which is tricky. Now, when I actually play it on Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, let's see, I'm gonna skip. I'm entering the Western Mines. Oh wow, look, there's monsters all over the place, and those are tougher monsters. Is it possible for me to get? I want to get myself killed like for reals, but I may not have time to get myself killed. Yeah, that one hits a little hard. So still not super. What level monster? This is level 5. So these are way higher level than what we met before. But they still be manageable. The way you're kind of what the heck is it? Grubbins? Oh look, it's a named it's a named thought. I wonder what his deal is. I can't. I've already forgotten who so here's a mine defense pylon, which is not on yet, so the controls of it are over here. Um, I have already forgotten half of the things about this game. Like, now that the game shipped, all of it is falling out of my head. Like, keeping all of a video game in one person's brain is very exhausting. So I forget about it as quickly as possible. So I don't know who Grubbins is. I don't know what his story is. I don't know if there's a quest to kill him. I don't know what he does. What level is Grubbins? Level 7? Oh my god, look at all that health. Jesus Christ. He has 394 health. What is this guy's deal? Why does he have... Oh, because this is the first area where you really get in trouble if you don't have... if you don't use the mechanics. Like, this thing could really kill this thing, but it hasn't been turned on yet. And it hasn't been turned on yet because I didn't enter the Western Mines. Okay, from the mines that I started the stream at. So, I'm gonna start playing like an idiot. I'm gonna use my dagger, even though it's not gonna do anything, and my Fiora is gonna run up here to try to aggro Grubbins. By the way, aggro Grubbins was my favorite character in Lord of the Rings. Oh man, when Tom Bombadil sent them to meet aggro Grubbins, oh boy, that was adventure for days. Is this my thought? Yeah, I'm gonna run up because yeah, come on. Let's see what your deal is. Why did I give this guy so many? Marianne, could you please add me a note to give aggro Grubbins less hit points? This is ridiculous. Why I my beta testers must have been suffering at the hands of this asshole forever and never bothered to tell me that Grubbins is stupid. Yeah, this is gonna be fixed. This is way too early for the in the game for this nonsense. Yeah, this stream is gonna have to go up on YouTube. This is nuts. So as I play through getting myself slaughtered, and now we're dead. Mortally wounded, you fall to the ground. Your training mission has come to an unexpected, miserable end. And thanks to our eternal artist Ben Resnick for coming with this just fantastic art. I love this drawing. It's so good. Um, it's not desktop available desktop art yet, but it will be someday. I have to make this desktop art. I wanted to close by, and that is the end of the stream. Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm gonna play through the rest of the first chapter of the game. And first of all, thank you everyone for watching the stream. It's got a really good audience. I'm really pleased, and this was a lot of fun. Geneforge 2 Infestation. It's a really cool retro, really unique, really innovative cult classic. It's a lot of fun. It's 15% off this week. It's very difficult running an indie games business these days. 60 games came out on Steam today. 60 games, I counted them, came out on Steam by like 2 and 3 in the afternoon today. So being an indie game developer is just a mess. I want to turn off this music, so I'm just gonna load a quick save. Oh wow, it's a quick save from Laney. This is a save game where I can get myself killed really quickly, but I'm not going to. But so far sales are okay. It's not great, but we're a stay in business. I really appreciate your support. There are people in this chat who have been our fans for a long time. I am immensely, infinitely grateful to you for helping me. When I was a child, I dreamed of writing video games for a living, which was a very weird thing to do in the 1980s. And I've gotten to live my dream and make a living out of it, and it's thanks to you folks, and I am immensely grateful. Geneforge 2, Infestation, take a look, give it a try. Steam has refunds if you don't like it, but it's a pretty darn fun game. It's really cool. Uh, that is, see you maybe Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you have questions or anything to say, if you missed a question, ask and discuss. There's the game store, Gene42 has a discussion area on Steam. I'm checking it all the time. Ask me a question. Other than that, thank you very much. I'm very grateful. This was a lot of fun, and you will hear.